examine your story. Don't just believe everything you believe. Look at it, examine it. That's what meditation is. It is to think deeply, to consider yourself, not just accept, this is who I am. This is my story. Meditation is to say, is this who I am? Is this really my story? Who am I really? That's what meditation is.
Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay, a podcast discussing meditation, the near-death experience, spiritually inspirational and transformative experiences. Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay. I'm your host, author, and teacher, Jay Spillers. Please do like and subscribe to the channel and share everywhere. I have Dallas today. Dallas, how are you?
I'm very well, Jay. Glad to be here.
So, why don't you tell the audience your story with meditation? Like, how did you get into it?
Well, let me start with a beginning point that points to why. I think we have become misguided around meditation in that it's all about technique and practice, stilling the mind. Well, why? Why are we doing this? It is my belief that we are all born with the still, the quiet, the love, beauty, and happiness that is our essence. And that very quickly we build a story that we identify as ourselves, the who we are. So that when I meet you in public and I say, nice to meet you, Jay, tell me something about yourself, you begin telling me a story about Jay. Not Jay, about Jay. This is how we identify who we are. I'm a man, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a doctor, I'm a plumber, I'm a carpenter. The I am something is the identity, the who. And this is the ego, the story mind, the story we believe we are. And this is what meditation wants to still. We're trying to quiet the story mind because the story mind is full of pain, suffering, trauma from childhood, anxiety, fear, insecurity, stress, depression. All these things are creations of the story mind, not of you, not of Jay, the human being, but of Jay, the identity as that human being. And so meditation, the why, is to escape this story, this identity we believe we are. So like many people, I went through, 60 years of carrying trauma, pain, suffering, anger, abuse, became an alcoholic, drug addict. My partner was the same. From the outside, we have a house. We have 2 beautiful children. We have cars in the driveway. We go on vacations. We have a business together. We're successful by most matrix within our culture of the story that we live in. But of course, under the roof of that house is a hellscape, a war zone, 2 people badly injured and fighting with addiction and disease. I get really lucky. I wake up one morning with cancer, and it begins a year that I call the year of life collapse. It's the collapse of my story mind in 1 year. I go through cancer and surgery and treatment. My wife and I separate. I lose my home, my family, my business. I'm suddenly alone, suicidal, and alcoholic. The best year in my entire life. By far, nothing can come close to it. Why? Because it lays my story in ruin, burned to the ground. And so I am forced to do the deeper meditation. Meditation is the examination of self, to find yourself outside of the story. Well, because my life was burned to the ground, I didn't have to look for the story. It was gone. What an incredibly lucky thing. So I could instantly be my true self. And so meditation to me is living as yourself, not trying to find it. We've had 100 years of modern psychology and psychiatry, and what have we come to? What have the answers been? They have been coping skills, coping mechanisms, from meditation to breath work. Go for a walk, be physically active, engage with people, take your mind away from this story you're believing that is harming you. And so we don't rarely talk about why the meditation. We talk about the techniques, the outcomes. I feel better. I meditate every day. It clears my mind. It calms me down. And then what do? Well, then I get back to real life. And there's the chasm, the break in this whole story, is to believe the real life. And that the meditation is just a little medication to make me feel better. I always say that the truth was given to us by almost every sage, every prophet, every religious figure of any depth. And Jesus is a great example. The disciples come to Jesus and goes, hey man, how do we be like you? How can I reach your level of greatness? Jesus doesn't say, well, you got to set big goals. You got to be disciplined and determined. You've got to fight on. You've got to struggle through the tough times. You've got to get a hot chick and a really nice house, maybe a Ferrari in the driveway. Then you'll be a success. He doesn't say anything like that. What does he say? He says, you are the light of the world. Answer given. Close the book. You got the secret to life. Done. And we trip over it and stumble forward into the story and pretend we didn't hear it. Moses asked God, the beginning of the First Testament, who am I going to tell my people that this voice is talking to me? Who is this? God doesn't say, I'm the supreme, I am the one, the only, blah, blah, blah. He says, I am what I am. It's the same thing as Jesus saying, you are the light of the world. And yet we can't see the simplicity of our truth. And so we live in this story and struggle and stumble and find ways of coping, ways of fighting with it, to the point we go to medications, we go to drugs, alcohol, pornography, whatever, to try and keep us away from this true self, because we have this ego story deception telling us this is what you are. This is what your life is. Life is hard. Life is struggle. Life is suffering. What a bunch of garbage. Where did this silly story come from? Well, probably because we're born into fear and insecurity. How could we not be physically? You're living beautifully as one with the mother in the womb. And all of a sudden, you're torn from the womb and put into this crazy world. And what does every baby look like physically when they come out? Every one of them. Well, that's trauma right there. And so we are bred into this externalizing our life. Everything is out in front of us to achieve, to reach somewhere, to become something, to get some sort of prize, to fit in, to win the game, to struggle and succeed. Everything is external to us from the time we're tiny children. Oh, look, Jay's walking. Oh, isn't he amazing? Oh, look, Jay's off to grade 1. He's growing up so fast. Oh, look, Jay got an A on his test. Jay's graduating. Jay's off to college. Wow, Jay's doing great. It's constant reinforcement that our life is out here in this story. And it's not in the light. It's not in the I am. It's in the I am something external. We are not the external. We are lost in that illusion. And so we try to employ meditation as a skill to bring us out of the story. But it can't work as a technique. You can't just go to the gym and work out and say, oh, I'm done. I'm now healthy and strong because I went to the gym. I would suggest that out of 8 billion people on the planet today, 3 billion have or do meditate in some way right now today. If meditation was leading us to the light, to our true self, the world would be far more at peace. We would be far more loving. It is not working because it's not a technique. Meditation is not a tool. It's a being. It's a deep understanding, self-examination to find the self, not the self of who you think you are, the identity, the self of what you are, the light. You cannot use a technique to get out of the identity, other than for a few minutes here and there. And you feel this, meditation's great. It makes me feel so good. And that is a deception. That's an ego meditating. That's the ego saying, oh yeah, I'll let you play this spiritual sort of little game for a minute, because then I'll bring you back to your story. I'll bring you back to real life, where it's hard, where you suffer, where you have to struggle. I'm not going to let you stay in the meditation, because then you wouldn't need the ego. You wouldn't need the deception of the story. You would live a completely different life. You would be at peace. You would be happy, loving, and caring every minute of the day. And people will say, oh, you can't be happy all the time. Why not? Who said? Show me the rule book that says you can't be happy all the time. Show me any scientific evidence. There's none. It doesn't exist. We tell people they have a brain chemical imbalance every day in this world to point to their disorder. We don't know how to measure brain chemicals. And yet we use this. Experts use the words. And we don't even question it. We just live in this belief mechanism of the story. And we look out in the world, and it's a collective of the story in fear and insecurity. So much so that if I'm the leader of your country, I can convince you. Those people over there hate you. Those people over there are collecting guns. They're building bombs and airplanes. They're going to come and get us because we represent freedom and they hate us for it. And if I can get you to believe this story, you pick up a gun, join the army, and go kill your brothers and sisters. For what reason? For the reason of believing a story. I almost killed myself believing a story that hurt me so deeply, I wanted to end my life. All I did was believe a story. There was no reality to it. Only the reality that my mind, my story mind created and believed. And that's the reality we think we live in. When the true reality is that gorgeous flower growing outside, the tree, the squirrel, my dog. Life is the true reality. And that's all it is. We are simply love and beauty and happiness. That baby, after it is born, is wrapped in a blanket and laid on its mother's chest. And every human being that then looks into that baby's face sees the exact same thing. The exact same thing. We only see love, beauty, and happiness. Because this baby doesn't have a story. It has no identity. It's just beautiful life. That's us reflected in the baby's face. When my mother died 6 months ago, 2 hours beforehand, I looked into her face and all I saw was the same reflection. Just love and beauty, and my heart was happy, not sad. I'm not losing anything. I experienced this life. That's all. But we create a story around it that is a possession that we lose. And in losing the possession, we suffer. I didn't lose my mother. Her life was done. It was beautiful. I'm a part of her. She's a part of me. And will always be. And you're a part of me. And I'm a part of you. That is the beauty of the human. That is the beauty of the aware, conscious being, the universe, God, if you want. That is what we all is. There is nothing else. We have just created a massive story like a Netflix series running over and over the same story. Fear, insecurity, struggle, pain. And we keep sitting in the theater watching the movie and going, oh, this is life, this is life, this is hard, we got to work. It's a fantasy. It's an illusion. And everyone experiences the true reality in their life. Everyone experiences it. You're out on a walk. You're out in a forest. You come upon a valley, scene, the vista. And you have this moment where your mind is just, wow. It's beautiful. Not labeling, not thinking. That's meditation. That's the deep experience. It happens to all of us. And then it goes away. We think of something and we worry about yesterday, something we did, or tomorrow, something we have to do, which puts us right back in the story. And we forget about that moment. You walk to a seashore and it's this beautiful crashing waves and the thunder of the Mother Earth breathing in your face. And it's just, wow. Another moment. Your true essence is right there. Life. And we keep putting it aside to stay in this drama that we mentally believe is our reality, the story. We don't have to live in a story. No one has to suffer any pain. This is an illusion that we buy into. We are just love, beauty, and happiness. We are the simplest little creature. And we've created this complex story to think we're somehow very special. It's madness. Everyone I've ever talked to, everyone, I said, what is your destination? What do you want from life? What is it you seek? Everybody seeks the same thing. They seek happiness. For a lack of a better word, call it a still mind. Call it God. Call it. It is just this peaceful beauty and love of being, of life. We all seek the same thing. What are we waiting for? The story's in the way. The roadblock is the story that we believe. And what do people do? I work for 50 years at a job so I can retire. What are you going to do when you retire? Oh, I'm going to relax. I'm going to enjoy life. Really? We're so fooled. We think we have to wait. We have to pay a price. There's no price to pay. You were born. You won. You got to experience this beautiful world. That's it. There is nothing to achieve or get to or become. You already are. You are the light of the world. Not you will become it. Not you will find it. Not if you work hard enough, you'll get there. You already are. We just covered it with a story. And so at birth, you see this beauty, love, and happiness. And at death, you see it. And in between is the camouflage of the story mind, the movie, the theater, the drama and trauma of what we think is life. Remove it. There's no rules. You have to be in it. It doesn't exist. It's a creation of mind. That's the story.
Well, it's kind of interesting because, like, if you ever watch Tony Robbins and some of the other like self-help people out there, they'll say, well, the reason you feel negative and bad and all that is because you've created a story in your mind. And, they get on that point. Unfortunately, they usually say, well, that's a negative story. Put that one aside. Let's recreate a new story instead of just going back to the essence of who we already are. So they kind of get a half right, but then they're going to recreate a new one.
Exactly. When I mentioned 100 years of modern psychology only giving us coping skills, well, 100 years of self-development, of self-improvement, Tony Robbins-esque, is based in goals and reaching success. Fundamentally, that's all it is. That is a mechanism to keep you in a story. The story of achieving. When I get there, I will be. This is the flaw in the whole personal development story. 50 years ago, studies were done of people that wrote down goals, had actual strategies laid out. 95% of people don't reach their goals. And today, the stat is identical. Why? Because we're trying to express our happiness somewhere down the road. Well, of course, there is no future. It doesn't exist. There's no tomorrow. You've never been to tomorrow. You never will be to tomorrow. You're only ever here right now. And so people are always reaching, oh, I've got these great goals. I'm working hard. I'm driving forward. And they can never be satisfied because life is now, not when I get there. That's another illusion, another story to believe. And so they're trapped on the hamster wheel, running to get somewhere and going nowhere. All they're doing is missing life right here, right now. They're missing that beautiful ocean, that beautiful forest, that beautiful face of my child, my mother, whatever it is. They're missing that because they're going to get there. Because there's going to be better flowers when I get there. It's a madness. That is the disorder, is believing that. Yeah. It just seems so simple to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've heard that concept before about, getting back to your authentic self, and it's not about achievements and out here and all of that. How do you ever find yourself, either through circumstances or other people, getting wrapped up in the story
Of course.
again? Or is there a way to totally get free from the story and never come back to it?
Of course you get wrapped up. I mean, return to a figure that is a part of idolatry, Jesus. He got wrapped up in the story. He got angry at the merchants, throwing over the tables, lost his temper. That's getting wrapped up in the story. He was no different. So of course we do. The work is to be in attention and awareness that the story is there. So that when the thought comes to my mind, I'm angry or I'm in confrontation with you on some argument, is to be aware and say, oh, hang on. That's my ego talking. That's not me. That's that voice in my head that's leading me down this path. That's what the meditation is to be aware of the story in you so that you do not stay on that path. Because most people will call it, they will spiral. They have a bad thought and it leads to another and another and another. And they spiral into anger or frustration or stress or anxiety, whatever it is. Why? Because they're chasing that thought, that voice in their head, which is the story, not their true self. And when you said, authentic self. I would say there's no such thing. That's another illusion. Because the real you is not a single person. You are life. You are consciousness. Consciousness. And that doesn't make you a thing, one particular thing, an independent thing. It makes you everything. Our great discomfort and dis-ease is identifying as a thing. I'm a man, I'm a doctor, I'm strong, I'm weak, I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm angry, I'm frustrated. These are all identifications to things we believe we are. So the authenticity is to not be a thing. I am no thing. And in nothing, we are everything. This is the contradictory twist that keeps us from seeing the light. Because we think it has to be some big complex thing that will take a lot of things to practice to find this thing. And the reality is it's not a thing. It is no thing because it's everything. As we are. And we get lost in trying to be a better thing, a better father, a better husband, a better doctor, a better athlete, improving, achieving, grinding, and never reaching because we think it's something to achieve.
Is it sort of like the present? It's always being present in the moment, the eternal now. You're not past, you're not the future, you're just now.
Which is a flowing river. It's not a moment. It's always moving, but it's always right here. You are in it. You know, we don't have free will over going down the river. We know where it's headed in our physical life. It will end. But we have the free will to enjoy the river, to see the river's beauty and not see the struggle, to not focus on the rapids and get upset and worried and in fear and insecurity, but to know the river flows past the rapids. And so do you. When you are angry, you are aware that you're angry. When the anger goes away, you are still aware. The awareness never goes away. Just the clouds of emotions and feelings and moments and interactions, the movie, the story. But the person aware of the story is your true self. Life is aware. So practice being in awareness, not in the drama. Detached from the story. Doesn't mean you don't go to work, you don't pay your bills. Doesn't mean you sit under some tree like a yogi for 40 years. It means that you don't attach to the drama in that story that you live. I still have to go to work, but I don't get upset when someone does something at work I don't like. I don't look at my job and go, oh, I have to, this is so hard. That's a decision of the ego. There's no reality to it. No job is hard, easy, or anything. It just is. Let it be. You're only alive right here, right now, so just do your best with yourself. Be as loving, kind, do your hard work. It feels great to achieve in the moment, not someday. Now, when I go to the gym, I lift weights. And I lift them till my muscles hurt, till I'm in pain. And I love the feeling because I love hard work, but I don't work hard. Working hard is suffering. Doing hard work is a pleasure. It's the resistance that builds muscle or builds a mental resilience. Doing the hard things, but enjoying the hard things. That is a choice. None of these things are written in stone. I say there is no suffering. There's no such thing. That's a creation of the mind. I'm talking psychological. Of course, you cut your finger, you suffer. There's pain. But it also goes away, and you know that. You don't spend time with it. Spending time with it would be suffering. We do that psychologically all the time. You hurt me. You upset me. You did this wrong. I don't like you. I'm angry with you. That's suffering. That's a complete fantasy, an illusion. You can't do anything wrong to me. You can't hurt me. I'm in love with a woman. I put my love in her. She leaves and I'm heartbroken. A fantasy, an illusion. No one can have your love. You only give it in a mental, psychological idea of possession, control, having something. You don't have anything.
12 p.m.
You're nothing. Don't hold on to all this stuff. That's why it suffers. We think we own stuff. My children, my wife, my house, my car. What are you talking about? You don't own anything. I'll prove it to you. You die tomorrow. Show me all your possessions. We don't own anything. These are all illusions of the mind that we grasp onto in this story that says, look what I've achieved, to keep me away, because the ego doesn't want you to find who you are. It would have no purpose. You would not need the ego. And the ego doesn't want you to leave. You are its life. Your belief in that egoic story gives it life. It has no life on its own. That's why you can get angry and then anger passes. If anger was real, it wouldn't pass. It would be part of you. It's not. It's not a part of anyone. Trauma is not a part of anyone. I was traumatized 50 years ago. How did it get here today? Well, it's quite simple. I picked up the trauma. I took care of it. I put it in a bag, threw it over my shoulder, and walked with it for 50 years. And said, oh man, I'm in pain. This thing hurts. And I blamed school, and I blamed the church, and I blamed Boy Scouts and summer camp counselors for hurting me. It was their fault. They traumatized me. Those nasty people. And people live in blame their whole lives for what upsets them. The trauma isn't real. I have to nurture it, take care of it, and keep it alive in me. I have to. No one else is doing it. And yet we believe the story, and experts will say, you have a psychic scar, a wounded inner child. All these ideas of why the blame is real. Believe the story. There's no truth. There's no truth. Show me yesterday. Show it to me, Jay. Where is it? Can you go to a filing cabinet and pull yesterday out for me and show it to me right now? Of course not. It doesn't exist. It's an illusion of memory. A memory we can't even tell over and over again consistently. It's a fish story that exaggerates and inflates and inflicts more damage than its reality. We hold these things in our mind. It's not real. There is no yesterday, just as there is no tomorrow. So why would we spend our time living in memory and imagination when life is right here, right now? You and I are experiencing life right now. We're not thinking about what happened yesterday, what's about to happen in 10 minutes or 10 years. We're just here. And it's simple. And there's no pain and suffering. This is what beauty, love, and happiness is. It's so simple. And yet we're believing in and agreeing to stories we've been told. We look around the world and see all these stories. Look at all the leaders of countries. Most of them men, most of them traumatized, wounded little boys, afraid and insecure, trying to show the world how tough they are, willing to kick sand in the next guy's face and start a fight, bully each other. Complete illusions, lost in stories. There's nothing real about these people. There's nothing real about most of us because we believe in this story. That's my story, Jay.
I mean, like when you start to realize that, it's all an illusion, then the concept of forgiveness, whether it's for yourself or for others, is pretty much automatic, right? It just, you let go.
Exactly. What are you holding on to? Everything we hold on to is this external idea that something outside of us gives us our meaning. There is no meaning. Nothing happens in life and comes with meaning. We create the meaning. That's all. Everything that happens is up to us to create the meaning. Why? Because we have this gift of aware consciousness. We get to look at a flower and see beauty and see love, life, happiness. Or we could look at the flower and dissect it and go, well, that petal's not quite as nice as that petal. And, it's wilting a little right here. What is that? That is this externalizing. That's ego. That's story. That's comparing. That's judgment. All these things are blaming the outside world for how I feel. When the outside world has nothing to do with how you feel. It only has to do with it because you believe the story of this outside world that gives you all the meaning and purpose and happiness and everything comes from out there. Madness. Just madness.
So like in your meditation practice, how do you release the story and just simply be your true
Stay
self?
present. Stay awake. When I first started trying to, for lack of a better term, rebuild my life, I started doing things like I've got a sticky note on my TV still. And sticky note says, get off your ass. I've got a sticky note on my fridge and it says, what's going into your mouth? Now, the idea of these were to say, are you awake? We live so much of our life in routine and habit. Those routines and habits are part of a story that we follow. We're not really fully awake. Jay works hard on Thursday, and on Thursday evening he drives home from work. He walks into the house and slaps his keys down on the kitchen counter. And the sound of the keys hitting the counter wakes Jay up. And he goes, I don't even remember driving. I can't remember anything about the drive. How is this possible? That's so immersed subconsciously in the story, you're not truly aware of real life at all. And we all do it. It happens to all of us. It's like being in a dream at night and going, whoa, was that real? Was I dreaming? And not being sure for a moment. It's the same thing. So the practice was saying, I have to be awake. I have to be here now, today. So what I did was say, well, what is the day? If I sleep 8 hours, I have 16 hours of conscious waking life in a day. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
So, in 16 hours, can I go for a walk for my body, for my health? Yeah, I think in 16 hours I could take 30 minutes and go for a walk. Okay. In 16 hours, could you choose to eat a little better and take care of your health as well? Yeah, I can do that. In 16 hours, could you call someone you love and tell them you love them? Just one person. Yeah, I could make a phone call. In 16 hours, could you do 4 or 5 hours of really concentrated work to pay for the roof over your head, clothes on your back, and the food in your belly? Yeah, I could do that. Pretty soon, your whole life is one day. And the reality is, there's no yesterday, no tomorrow, so life is only ever 16 hours long. How simple. All I have to do is be loving, kind, happy, and healthy for 16 hours. Just 16 hours, not for 10 years. Just 16 hours. And tomorrow when I wake up, what a gift. I get a do-over. I get to do it again. Just 16 hours. So the meditation becomes living for 16 hours. Awake and aware. Don't drift. Don't daydream. Stay here. That's all it is. I don't entertain memories. Memories are a waste of my time. I don't entertain the imagining of tomorrow. What for? Tomorrow takes care of itself by what you do today. So if you continue to focus on this day, this hour, this minute, whatever you're doing right now, you're done. You've done it. Success. It only ever happens in 16 hours today. You are success here now, not back then and think about the good old days, not off in the future when I reach my goal. It's now. Keep yourself here. That's the meditation. Stay awake. You don't have to sit down and close your eyes and breathe and think about all these things and try and center yourself and narrow your thought. Focus on the breath. And it does feel good. It works. But it's a coping skill. I don't have to cope with anything because there's nothing to cope with. There is no fear. There is no insecurity. There is no harm. There is no trouble. There are no problems. There's only life. So there's nothing for me to put a technique on. The practice is living, being awake, being here. We've been practicing, if you're 50 years old, you've practiced for 50 years to live in a story you believe. So yes, suddenly changing can be hard, can seem very difficult because you're used to that voice in your head. You're used to that ego showing up and telling you you're an idiot or you're smart or you're better than them or you're worse than them, comparing and judging and blaming. So you do have to do some things about that. One of them is ignore that voice. I remember when I was younger, I made myself a cup of coffee in the morning. I turn around and hit the counter and I drop the cup of coffee, smashes on the floor. Instantly that voice arrives and it says, "You dummy, stupid, you never pay attention. What's wrong with you? Don't be such a dummy." What is that? That's the voice. That's the story. That's the evil. That's the deception. That's the ego playing with you. So now, does the ego ever show up? Yeah, sure it does once in a while. A worry, a thought of concern, of trouble. But instead of me going, "Oh, yeah, I better think about that," I just disregard it or I laugh at it and I carry on with being present. And it goes away. Your thoughts have no power if you don't pay attention to them. Stay in thinking instead of thoughting. Thoughts are from the story mind. Thinking is from your brain. You don't thought to make dinner and follow a recipe. You think. You use your thinking brain. Skills, tools, techniques. Thoughts are very different. They just arise in the mind. Some say between 30 and 50,000 of them a day just show up in your head. You don't ask for them. That's the story mind talking to you all the time, chattering in the background. If you pay attention, all your trouble is in those thoughts. The brain supplies no trouble. None. The brain is the working mechanism of doing, of writing, speaking, looking after my children, going to work, doing my job, skills, tools, techniques of living. That's the brain. Thoughts are the story, the ego, deception. Don't pay attention, they evaporate. I don't spend time in memories, I forget memories over time. There's no reason to have them. They're useless. The brain doesn't hold on to memories. It takes the experience and turns it into a skill or a tool or a learning. And then it just has it. When you go, let's say you play tennis. And on the weekend, your friend calls and says, Jay, let's go play a game of tennis. You go, sure. I love playing tennis. You don't arrive at the court and go, hang on, give me a few minutes. I've got to remember. Swing, stance. You don't remember. The brain is like an app, the app store. It just brings up the application. You know how to play tennis. That's why you don't forget riding a bike. You don't have to remember to do it. It happens. So your brain isn't a memory. Your brain is an active tool, a function. It's the story mind that where memory is. That's why we have to go, hang on, let me think. I'm trying to remember that. And I'm trying to remember. I reimagine. The story gets rebuilt and reconstructed. And it's never quite the same. Myself and my 4 brothers will get together and we'll talk about an event we all experienced in our teens together. And we all have a completely different story of the event. How is this possible? If it was real, we all experienced it together, why wouldn't we all have the same story? Because memories aren't real. They're reconstructed imaginings from a dust in our mind of something that may have taken place, and we reconstruct the story. And it's reconstructed based on our story. And so my interpretation might have some fears or insecurities in it. Yours might have some incredible happiness and sunshine in it. And it's the same story. And that's the difference between thoughts from the mind and thinking in the brain. And we need to separate these and see them. And awareness is seeing the thought and going, that's a memory. That's the ego, that's deception, that has nothing for me. I'm not paying attention. I'm thinking about this, and that's where the good stuff happens. That's where I go to the gym. That's where I eat better. That's where I tell you I love you. That's where I do all the good. Everything that goes wrong is because I'm listening to this voice. That's not me. That's how I separate it. So meditation is not listening to the voice. Being present, using my brain, rational, logical, not fantasy and imagination. But I can still go to fantasy and imagination and enjoy the entertainment of the movie, or a story, or a book, or playing tennis. I have the imagined entertainment of it, just for the enjoyment. It gives no meaning that makes my life determined by it. Right? It's just happening. I'm not going to attach to it and say, if I don't win this tennis game against Jay, I'm not very good. And then I'm going to be upset. See, that's the story coming in and attaching meaning to what should be just this enjoyment of Jay and Dallas having a tennis game. It doesn't mean anything. We're just having fun. That makes sense for me.
So, yeah, that makes sense. So, where can people reach out to you if they want to get a hold of you?
DallasCalls@gmail.com. Examine your story. Don't just believe everything you believe. Look at it, examine it. That's what meditation is. It is to think deeply, to consider yourself, not just accept, this is who I am. This is my story. Meditation is to say, is this who I am? Is this really my story? Who am I really? That's what meditation is. That's the only word we have to do. Who am I? Really?